We might have to do a sing-along.
Oh, hey, we got music now. And I think we are currently live. I don't know why it didn't go live, but we are live now. We redo everything. So here we go again. Hey, welcome to Sunday Night Live. We are very professional here. We do things on task, on right. I don't know all the words that I'm supposed to be saying, but I don't. But we have special guest Geoff Cocanower with us here.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
We're actually repeating our intro because we weren't live.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah. So
with this killer music, and you know, I just don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah. Mariah Weaver over here.
Hello.
And of course, Colin Villanueva.
What up,
clapping
guys?
for yourself?
No, I was clapping for Mo, but I just continued it.
Oh, so you clap for yourself.
We're sorry about that delay. We thought we were live. It was supposed to go live once it hit the time, but it didn't. I had to click the button.
That's how things happen sometimes, though.
I guess.
You know,
all right.
Whatever.
But hey, we've got a great show for you here tonight. We're excited to hang out with you and talk to you about life and about our habitudes that we've been talking about. Also with Geoff here. We never know what's going to happen when he's here,
That's
but
true.
he was with us on our winter retreat.
It was fun.
It was amazing. You know, that winter retreat feels like so long ago now.
Forever.
How many weeks
I don't know, it felt
how
like
many
it
weeks ago was that?
Yesterday for me.
That was February?
February? That was before we got the cat.
What's the cat?
And I got the cat on the way
Oh, I
home.
thought that was like code for COVID.
No. Well,
I didn't know what that
it
meant.
was before we got the COVID. But
You should have named your cat COVID.
My wife conned me into getting a cat on the way home from winter retreat.
Okay.
I remember her talking to us about it too. She's like, I just want a cat so bad.
Listen, can we talk about the fact that cats biblically clearly don't
Are
come
superior.
From, that's definitely.
Wait, no. I want to hear what you have to say. Let's hear about the cats.
There's listen. If you observe a cat, you just spend a couple hours observing a cat. You know, all I do is hang out in the corner. You know, watching the people who are in the room, stalking them.
He bites me.
Because they come from hell.
Every
They're
time I'm on
clearly
the phone with you, you say the cat
Satan.
bites you in the butt.
Listen,
Yeah, I was on the Zoom meeting with them the other day, and he came up behind me and bit me on my tush.
I'm just telling you right
that's
now.
just weird.
They just sit in the corner. They're plotting out how to kill you. That's what they're doing.
Well,
Every single cat.
He's
ever.
failed.
Do you
He
have
hasn't
a
done it
cat?
yet.
I do not.
I
for
would
obvious
agree
reasons.
to disagree with you.
Well, you know,
Do you have a dog?
we would if we had a bigger house. Working on that.
All right.
Well, I feel like we roast my cat every single time we're on the stream. So
I love your cat.
Bartholomew,
Do you know how you make a cat sound like a dog?
you
You dip it in gasoline and light it on fire. Woof.
Byron.
repent.
I don't even know.
I think you need to repent for that.
Oh, come on. You know that's
I
good.
didn't need to picture that today.
The thing is God created all animals. He just didn't create them all equal.
That's true. That's why he created dogs better than cats.
Sure, that's fair.
Wrong.
That's
Wrong.
I don't even
But
know.
my kitty was made by God, and I tell him that often. I said, you know, Bartholomew, you were
That's-
made by Jesus.
Cats just get hated on because they're so independent.
Because I can't teach him the gospel. You know, I can't get him saved.
You know, the second most annoying creature on the face of the earth is right out there. It's a goose, and the cat
Oh,
is
I
clearly
hate
worse.
those things.
Worse than a goose.
Clearly,
No, goose poops everywhere.
not if you run it over with a golf cart.
Have you done that?
Been really close.
Hey, Peter, don't watch this episode.
Right,
Please.
it's whatever.
Next time, just swing your golf club.
Oh, no.
I've come close with that too. Hey, if
Would
you're going
you
to attack me, I'm going to defend myself.
All right, all right. If anybody ever here been attacked by a goose by chance?
My sister, who was watching the video, did. She was told the swan. It was a swan or a goose. His name was Lucifer, and she was persuaded to go pet it, and it darted at her. She turned around and grabbed her pants and pulled her into the pond.
I would like to ask a question.
She's scarred for life. Sorry,
Yeah.
Becca.
I'm sorry, Becca.
What on earth caused what was the convincing moment for your sister to say, you know, I think I'm going to go pet that goose?
She was 5.
Can I pet that goose?
Mo
My
was making
kids
TikToks before
love
TikTok
that
was
video.
famous.
They watch it nonstop.
It's
What is
one
it?
of the
What is
greatest.
it?
It's a TikTok where this kid goes, "Can I pet that dog?"
Yeah,
Cat
but
dog.
But they
Teacher
put
knows it.
But they
for
put it
sure.
over the voice of a dog. Have you seen that one?
No.
They made these little dogs looking out the window, like the words to that. It's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like the dog saying it.
It's actually one of the greatest TikToks.
Maybe we should start a
All time.
TikTok review channel. That'd be fun.
I think this is the place for ideas
Ideas just
Right?
flow naturally from here.
naturally.
So now you've
We
got
already know
some
we're
good
having
stuff
a
for
debate show.
your youth group. What's it called?
Midweek Live.
Converge?
Converge Midweek Live. That's right.
All right, Converge Midweek Live.
Yeah, we didn't even tell the audience who Geoff was.
It's assumed.
Yeah. Geoff
People
is
just
the
know
youth
who you
pastor
are.
at Hope Missionary.
One of
the youth pastors.
Yes.
For now. So we're glad that Jeff's with us.
Keep going.
I don't even know where he's going with that.
Well, he doesn't know if he's going to last after he's on this show. You know, who knows what can happen.
Did you take off your bunny ears?
So did you? What are you talking about?
You're
We wanted to see how long you would keep him on.
You're in on this bit too.
That was our peaking.
Okay.
That was our peaking that we were talking about.
Honestly, what it was supposed to happen is we were supposed to put him on. You were just supposed to be confused, but then it turned into this thing where you had him on and we didn't, and it was kind of better.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we also said that you had to eat one of those jelly beans.
Well, that's clearly not going to
Yeah,
happen.
the jelly
You
beans
still
were a
have them
little
on
too
your table. I
obvious.
thought they were gone by now.
No.
Oh, okay.
You know what we were doing? We were seizing the opportunity to prank you.
Listen, it's not time for the
This
This is
segue.
true.
segue.
This
It's
is,
not time
this
for
is
the
great.
segue.
A great segue.
Yes, great segue.
Apparently
We're
it
going
is
to
time
talk
for the
about.
segue.
Yeah.
We're not going to the habitude yet. We got to talk about life. What's been going on? How are you guys doing? What are you guys looking forward to most this summer?
3 weeks from now,
What's 3 weeks from now?
I'm visiting my family in San Diego.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's been like a year since I've seen them.
Now,
so.
do you have to stay like quarantine for 2 weeks when you go to their house? You're not allowed to travel anywhere?
Well, I don't know how it'll be by the time we get there. The beaches are open because they closed the beaches and everyone protested. So then they reopened them.
Power to the
day
people.
after.
That's right. Stay off my lawn.
Of all the places to go, though, if you're in a beach, it's not really packed. It's probably the safest place to be outdoors.
I think we're doing more outdoorsy things like the beach, like hiking and stuff like that.
I mean, now going downtown Hollywood, that's probably not the best place to go.
I'm not even a big fan of LA anyway, so I don't think
Well, that's
we're
good because San Diego and LA are two different places.
too different.
They look
Too different.
too. Like San Diego is
better.
amazing. Like I got a chance to visit there, and I saw what is it? What's the name? Point Loma Nazarene. It's a Christian school there.
Right
Like I
on
saw
the coast.
2 years after I graduated from Bethel, and I'm like, why did I not go here? It's right on the beach.
Oh,
It's the same cost.
Now I feel like I'm missing out.
it's
What the
cheaper
heck?
than LA
Well,
Yeah.
and better.
I would have failed because I would have been on the beach the whole time.
Yeah.
Who's to say he didn't?
So
fail
I'm
in the
excited.
first place?
I didn't fail on the paper.
Didn't
Hey,
see
I
his
got a
transcript.
2.1. I passed.
and for your bachelor's,
Maybe.
Byron, I feel like
no one checks your GPA when you're a pastor. No
is
one
that true?
cares.
I don't feel like that's true. Is that true?
Maybe back in the day.
Yeah.
Does
Like,
anyone ever ask for your transcripts?
I think they said, "Oh, you have a degree. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
talk
it.
about
That's
your
all they
experience."
cared about.
That's
Let's
all
talk
they
about your
care about in
experience.
ministry.
So you've been
Doesn't
working
your
hard
GPA
for what
mean-
reason?
Your
Because
GPA
I'm
doesn't.
trying to honor the Lord with all I do.
Hey, you know what? That's a great scripture. And
And if I had to do it over again, I would probably try a whole lot harder. But that's 20 years ago, and
Yeah, Byron. See, you
You
have
know-
a whole
Wait,
bunch of
that was 20
vulnerable
years
minds
ago?
listening
Yes.
to this.
mercy.
Yeah.
We have people we're trying to teach how to be more self-disciplined.
and I've
Byron-
talked about it as an
Time out.
illustration of how bad of a student I was and how I regret that.
Being self-disciplined does not mean everybody's going to get good grades. I'm just saying.
It doesn't.
No, and it also doesn't. Just because you get good grades doesn't mean you're going to be good in the field you want to go in.
Yeah.
So,
Doesn't.
it
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't. I know
Believe
a
it or
lot
not.
of very, very smart GPA students who were ministry majors, and they went to be pastors, and they probably should have chose a different career.
Oh,
He's referring to you.
No.
but I'm not.
Just
I'm not a pastor yet.
No.
So I guess we'll have to.
Well,
figure
you're a
out when that
communications
happens.
major.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Me
Okay.
too.
Does
You
it
take
show?
those.
Jeff, does it show?
I can't tell yet.
So summer stuff. What are you doing this summer, Colin?
We're moving away from that.
Doing ministry.
Doing
Work
ministry
with high
like,
school.
with
Super
high school
pumped
students?
about that. Yeah, with high school students. So I'm super pumped about that. So, you know, moving down. I went from college, and now I'm gonna do high school, and then I got a chance to teach at middle school, and I'm hoping that if I keep going, pretty soon I'll be in like Kid City, and then
Maybe be holding babies.
be holding babies by the end of my ministry.
Maybe
here.
by December.
no,
Maybe teacher's baby.
but I'm super excited.
I'm trying
Like,
to
there's
math quick in my head.
a lot of great
It's not working so well.
opportunities. But yeah, so that's what I have to look forward to.
Nice.
I don't really know. I feel like my whole year was kind of based around around this residency. So I haven't really planned any vacations or anything because I know I'm gonna have to be highly committed this summer.
Yeah.
So plus my master's classes, they don't stop over the summer.
What are you getting your master's through?
Bethel.
Oh, nice.
But you know what he gets to do?
What?
CCC. their communications pastors, all that stuff, are the one doing the teaching for them.
No, we had a guest, their teaching coordinator, the one who coordinates all their teaching, came and did a little bit of a guest lecture.
CCC or GCC?
No, CCC. The
Dave
Community
Ferguson,
Christian Church. They had the
Hero Maker.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's good.
She showed up.
Do you know who that is?
Brian's overhyping.
I know who it is.
Okay, I mean, you're in the know, right?
Yeah, but you said CCC, and I just honestly wasn't sure about that.
Okay, all right.
It's whatever.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So what are you doing this summer?
Stuff and things.
Stuff and things.
Stuff and things. We've got a number of weddings that we are a part of or are participating
Yep, got a few of those.
in, and we have camp that we're doing at our place locally for high school students with our college students, and it's gonna be awesome. Not they're gonna help out, this kind of thing.
You're not doing it for your college students.
No, because they're way past that.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they are. Yeah. And then playing a lot of golf because we like doing that, and maybe go on vacation, taking the wife on vacation, because
where are you gonna go?
I can't tell you that yet because June 9th is our 2nd anniversary, and I don't want to tell that yet. So there's that.
Or you just don't have anything planned yet.
Also, there might be that.
Fort Wayne.
No.
Fort Wayne. There you go. Spending the night on the town.
Hey, sometimes she's a simple person, so works out. But so just summer can be really, really busy for student pastor, and
it's not this summer.
What's that?
It's not this summer. No mission trips.
No mission trip this year. Although we are looking at a serve people in our community week kind of thing.
Okay.
A love week kind of thing.
They call it Week of Hope here. It's really cool.
I know. I've heard.
Just call it Week of Hope.
I'm just gonna say.
Do you have Amish?
What's that?
Do you have Amish?
No, that's Grable.
Okay. I did. Well, Bluffton, Wells, kind of close. You're close to Burn. Similar.
Not really. There are no Amish.
So between Decatur and Burn, which are you more like?
Well, I'm not really a clock tower guy.
Mm.
And there is an excellent barbecue restaurant in Decatur. So,
when did that get there?
By 2 years ago, I think.
Ooh, you must be from the Midwest.
It's doggone right.
That Southern barbecue.
Yeah, you go to the Midwest for Southern barbecue. So, so
I was like, wait,
Midwestern barbecue.
Hold up a minute.
Listen, we got our own Chicago ribs.
That Southern influence.
So, no, just kidding.
What's going on?
I don't know. I was in Decatur yesterday playing golf. I mean, that's good.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
What was that?
I grew up in Decatur, so I was just curious. And then Burn, all that stuff.
Well, in that case,
I grew up in Fort Wayne.
To Fort Wayne. You don't have to put a duh on
the fort.
We just have to in Deutschland down there in Bern and see, that's the thing. So the Amish live in Grable, Decatur, and Bern, and Wells County just hires them to build their houses and barns. That's how that works.
That's a good deal.
It's really how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Then we go to Fort Wayne to do everything because you gotta have dinner.
Except for now. Fort Wayne's a scary place.
I don't know. We still know a lot of people that come up here.
Well, there's not really any place open to eat yet.
No, you can get carry out and sit in your car.
Oh no, there are places open to eat.
Yeah, I've been by Panda Express.
Proximo.
That line is for
fast food places are different.
We did it. We went to Panda. We braved it. It was worth it. But there are places.
What was it, an hour and a half?
Dining is open at places.
Yeah, for like 25 people.
No, we're up to 50% now, baby.
That's
getting after it.
Well, it was So that's 50%.
Yeah,
50% of 50 people is.
I'll see you at Saboya's.
Oli's Pizza.
Yes.
Oli's Pizza. Oh my gosh.
What?
I love Oli's Pizza.
Oh, I thought you were about to hate on it. And
we were
like
oily pizza?
Also that.
Oli's is the best.
Oh yeah, for
the
sure.
deep dish?
Oh god, yeah. Oh yeah. Giordano's is coming to Fort Wayne. Did you know that?
I did know that. I'm very excited.
It's gonna be awesome.
There we go.
Can't wait.
Well, I was going to jump into what we're planning on doing this summer for SNL, but you know what? I want to make sure everyone hangs out and stays tuned and doesn't just check out once I tell them what's going on.
That's right. Super exciting stuff coming to SNL.
Yes, SNL, Sunday Night Live.
We have 8 people.
Listen.
No, we have 11.
Oh, you're right.
Listen.
Facebook.
Yes.
Listen. It's not about the numbers, Colin.
I'm not. They're just not going anywhere. These 8 are the most 8 loyal people we've ever had.
We love them.
We got to feed them a present.
You should.
Okay,
you know what,
I'll give you a taste of what's coming.
Because the problem is,
you know what they should do is really quick before you do that is they should smash that share button and send it to 10 friends and hit the like button and tell them, you should do this right now. You should just do this right now. Just
put on our
button.
post notification.
Yeah, that's right. Hit the subscribe. Subscribe if you love Jesus and want COVID to be done.
Yeah.
Don't subscribe if
you love being quarantined.
Subscribe so you can see all the goodness that's going to come from Sunday Night Live.
Yes. So, anyways, one of the things that's going to be coming up is, guess what? The beach volleyball courts, we're not keeping them down forever. We're actually going to have them ready so that we can play some glorious beach volleyball.
Can somebody hit the clappy sound effect?
I don't know which one it is.
That would be the wrong one.
Oh, no.
Top one. Top left.
We're actually happy about it.
We're just learning
What is this? Come on.
Listen,
I haven't taken time to use the.
You got to have a list. He's old. You got to have a list, okay?
The yellow one.
They're still laughing.
Oh,
there we go. All right. So the beach volleyball courts are going
to just press it again. There you go.
There we go.
Please stop.
They are going to be up and running. We are getting them ready and prepared. We're going to go along with our brand new summer series. We're going to take 5 weeks to do a summer series in which we're going to do the series by Andy Stanley, The Bible for Grown-Ups. So you're not going to want to miss that.
No.
The first night, we're going to do a potluck pizza. You bring your favorite pizza from whatever location it may be,
Ollie's,
whatever it may be, and you get to share the love with everyone else. So this is all going to kick off on a brand new night because Sunday nights just don't work in the summer.
Oh,
so we're gonna have to call ourselves Thursday Night Live.
Thursday Night Live.
Holy kashmoli! Is that gonna work?
You could actually call it Thursday Night Live because there's not a show called Sunday or Saturday Night Live. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, SNL. So it's.
We're going to have to rebrand.
Originally I thought we got all these ton of viewers because I had called it Sunday Night SNL. And then, no, that wasn't the case.
No, just do Sunday Night Live and then add a little
on Thursday.
On Thursdays, yes.
On the bottom.
It's like Mo is a communications manager or something.
She's
she
good.
actually knows.
Yeah. I've taken graphic design, so.
She literally knows.
She designed this.
She created that. So what do you know?
I wish I had half the chops of that.
So
there's that.
It's all good.
I followed it to
She made Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the big news.
Stretch
We're going to move
over.
to Thursday night starting June 11th. We're going to start at 7 o'clock.
Secretly a millionaire.
We'll have beach volleyball after we're over. And the first night is going to be a pizza potluck. Bring your own pizza and share the love with everybody.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
You're going to have a pizza potluck.
I know. Stop. Not here. Not here. Not here. Not
And then
now.
you're going to
Watch
go play
your
volleyball.
mouth. Just watch your mouth. I don't want you getting in trouble.
No, no
pizza
shaming
potluck.
our pizza potluck.
I'm trying to make sure. So you're going to puke buckets out there?
No. We're going to eat at 7.
Oh.
Do the study. And then probably about 8 o'clock because the sun doesn't go down until 10 around June and July.
Digest the food and the word all in one sitting.
Get that spiritual and physical nourishment all on the same time.
There's a reason they call it soul food.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I won't be here because I'll be doing other things. But
yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
You have a job, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's good.
Just, don't know if I'm coming back to this. But, I'm just kidding.
So we do have a little bit of sad news, though.
Oh,
should we tell them?
Where's the button? Hit the button.
I don't know what button.
The green.
Does what.
The green.
No,
the green one is the
that's spitting. That works.
We like that
the
one.
blue one is the cry.
No, we like that one better.
Blue one's the cry.
Okay, well, here's the sad news, everybody. We will no longer be doing a live show on Sunday nights. We're going to bring this back in the fall as we relaunch based on what transpires in society, what we're allowed to do, not do. We want to have an online element no matter what we do. But just until then, we're not for sure what that's going to look like.
Thanks,
so
government.
We'll plan out.
We'll come back as a TikTok review channel.
I like it. We'll plan everything out over July. So after we have our series done, we'll get a chance to start planning out and programming out what we're going to do in the fall. And you get to be a part of that. And we're looking forward to it. And we'll have a retreat in the fall if we're allowed to. Should we have Geoff come back?
No.
And do the Enneagram?
I don't know about the Enneagram. I don't know about that.
I don't know why Colin hates the Enneagram so much.
I never hated it.
Because he never knew he was so afraid until he found out he was a 6.
You know what it's like waking up thinking that like you're really cool and then you go to bed and then you wake up and you realize that you're not.
I mean,
I had to do that.
That's one way to think about it.
It's the story of your life,
of course
when you think maybe one day you can be somebody really cool and then you realize that you're just a scaredy cat.
Yeah. We'll save this conversation for another time.
Yes.
I got 2 podcasts you can listen to on the backseatleadership.com.
All right.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Is it the mature edition or clean version?
The clean version.
Okay, just making sure.
Got the explicit off there, just to make sure. Sometimes
Can't talk about 8s.
That's right.
Yeah. So hey, so tonight we have a habitude we're actually going to talk about.
Love this one.
Yes, this one's called the opportunity statue. And if you've never seen the opportunity statue before, it's a Greek statue in which a statue of a guy who has very long hair in the front and no hair in the back. So he's basically me, but with hair in front.
Right.
And the concept of the statue is that when you see opportunities coming your way, it's easy to grab hold of.
Do you know what its name is?
I do not know.
Kairos.
That's what the
Kairos.
statue is called.
That's what
I would have
that's what
guessed,
statue
Because
is
the
called.
book talks about Kairos and Chronos, but keep going, Byron.
Kairos.
I want to hear this.
I like this insight.
It's here to help.
Okay. So anyways, opportunity is something that we all want more of, but once it passes by, we oftentimes look back and go, man, I should have done that. Kind of like when we got put on stay-at-home orders, how we could have said like, hey, you know what? This would be a perfect time to start a habit. And then 8 weeks later, we didn't do it. And we're like, man, I should have done that.
Yeah, we could have all been jacked.
No.
Like Byron.
Should have done insanity.
But we
I
didn't.
shouldn't have broke my foot.
Yes, exactly.
There's many things we could talk about.
I could have been a millionaire.
You could have been a piano player.
No, that takes a lot longer.
than 8 weeks.
Yeah. So,
A lot longer.
Colin should just become a DJ.
Yeah.
so speaking of
Okay.
which, summer is full of opportunities.
Oh yeah.
So what are you guys going to do for opportunity to become a better person over the summer?
Can read my Bible.
I can't tell if he's serious.
He says weird things like that all the time.
I know.
And I'm like, if you're for real,
He's halfway for real.
yeah.
No, I'm for real. I'm probably gonna read my Bible sometimes this summer.
Sometimes this
Half the
Sometimes.
time this summer.
I might open it. It's getting some dust on it this time. So I'm gonna dust it off and open it.
I might pray a little.
No, I think for me, a lot of like, I think like specifically from this summer, like I'm really motivated to, okay. So I have a lot of thoughts. I've actually been reading my Bible and kind of listening to what God's kind of been speaking to me. And I think a lot of what I've been focused on is so much on like what I want to do. And I really want to focus more on like who God is shaping me to become. And I think it's a lot about just challenging my current perspective on just ways that I react, but then also, I guess, learning more. And so, like, I don't know, I was reading 1 Timothy 2:4 the other day, and it talks about how God desires all people to be saved and to come to know the knowledge and the truth. And like, what really convicted me is that I don't live with that current perspective. And I wonder like what my life would look like differently if I lived it with the intentionality that I wanted every single person on this planet to be saved. And so then I'd value my interactions with other people more. And it's stuff like that where I want to learn, like, I just want to become the man that God has called me to be. And instead of focusing so much on like all these things I need to do, because I think, Byron, what we
Do.
What?
I would just had an extra.
Because like, I think
Oof.
like what we did, Geoff, you weren't here, but yeah, I know you've been watching the show, but we've been doing those self-discipline challenges. And a lot of what I've been doing is the walks in the morning with God and listening to scripture. And listening and learning is great, but without application, then it's not as valuable. And I don't want to be somebody that just knows a lot. Like I want to be a person that really lives it out. And so
Nice.
Hopefully that's what summer looks like for me.
Yeah. Well, you get to learn about youth ministry too, and that'll be an
Yes.
amazing experience.
Very
Whether or not
exciting.
you want to
I
be a
can't,
youth pastor or an adult ministry pastor.
like, I don't want to just go up there and like preach, like I want to live that out. Like I want to be an actual role model for people. So Deidre, I hope you have a great husband by the end of the summer. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Wishful thinking.
All right.
That's my speech.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, we all have things that we want to get better at this summer, hopefully.
Yeah. What about you, Mo?
Yeah. Well,
Fixing your foot.
yes, that's priority number 1 right now.
How long is that on there for?
Like another month.
Okay.
I mean, I actually don't even know for sure because it's just my follow-up appointment that's in another month. They could very well say you need to keep this on longer, but I don't think it will. I've already been walking without the boot at home. But anyway, as far as like improving myself or seizing opportunities, like one of my self-discipline challenges has been working out, and I've realized how much I like the gym compared to home from this. So when the Y opens May 26th, and what I decided to do is I bought this notebook that I'm just going to start making like legit plans in. Because I used to in school have this class called strength training, and they had like circuits that we would do every day. So I want to start like getting back to that and doing like weights and stuff in the gym. Because I don't know, working out has always been kind of a struggle for me. So unless I've had somebody to force me to do it. So yeah. And then if we're talking spiritually, just like continuing to be consistent with my God time and maybe like challenging myself a bit more, because there's been like some conversations I've had in Bible study and stuff that make me like think about certain things I thought I've always believed, and it just makes me want to like learn more about God. And
amen.
So great thing to take is our Life at Pathway class.
Honestly, not a bad. Seriously, they're good.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Ka-ching. You need a ka-ching. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we don't need an oof. We need a ka-ching, ka-ching.
Well, we've been in Revelation in my Bible study right now.
What are you doing Revelation for?
I would have questions. In Revelation.
You're gonna be just.
I love that. That's the best part of the night so far. Well, we've been just been cautiously journeying through Revelation.
Okay.
And I've had some questions. Only a few.
If you don't have questions when you're going through Revelation, you're not reading Revelation.
Okay.
I just really want to know, why is he on Patmos again? And what is Patmos? And is he hallucinating? Because I'm pretty sure he's hallucinating.
Who is this? Is this with my wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd she say you were studying?
She came home and she's like, "Hey, we were reading Revelation," and I just like it just kind of went over my head. I was like, "Oh, okay, they're reading."
This is why
Bible and says something about the Bachelor.
Okay, I've been wanting to get in this book for so long because I read it in middle school and haven't touched it since. And everyone's like, "It's a scary book. You shouldn't read."
Can we just pause for a second?
Yeah.
She was reading Revelation in middle school.
I was like committed.
Okay.
I mean, I was just trying to memorize the books of the Bible.
When I was in youth group, we literally did a series over Revelation every semester. And our church pastor would do a series over Revelation.
I wish we did that.
And we watched videos about the end times on a regular basis. That was the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, because
I really would love to talk about this.
It's so, you have the most interesting conversation.
No, it's not.
I like it.
There are some interesting conversations, especially when you go and then watch the Left Behind series with Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, that's
Left Behind is what scared me from getting Revelation.
Right. Go back and watch the Tim LaHaye versions are better.
Yeah, I mean it's so true and based on reality. The thought of two people who are not Christians who kept themselves virgins their entire life, and then they meet up and they get married, and they kept a vow of purity while
it's as if
living in the world. So
straight from
really down to earth. Based on reality.
Makes sense.
I feel like there's a lot of sarcasm coming from this corner of the room.
Just that.
I'm feeling.
I'm just echoing.
Yes. So the only reason why I brought up opportunities over the summer is like we want to have more opportunities, but the other flip side of it is to get more opportunities, you need more time, and time is something we all wish we had more of.
It's great.
Yeah. So the illustration that the Habitude gives is that we have 86,400 seconds every day. That's a lot of seconds.
Say that number one more time.
86,400 seconds a day.
That's a lot of seconds.
Yes. He changed it to pennies, which turns out to $864 a day. So imagine if someone were to give you every day $864, but if you didn't spend it all, you lost whatever you didn't spend. Would you try and plan out how you spent that money?
There's a movie on that.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
I feel like
they transact time. It's on their wrists.
In time.
Sure. I remember.
So
I think that's what it is.
So the question is, what would you do with $864 every day?
Well, I'm curious.
In time. That's the movie with
this is why I have this computer in front of me. I'm curious because here's what I think, Byron. We talk about time and
So we have a blank screen going on, and I don't know what happened, but they can hear us. So I got to get up for a second, but you guys keep talking.
Yeah. So I'm just curious because this is a question that runs on me. We talk about. There's a passage in Psalm 90. It says, "Teach me to make my days. Teach me to number my days, so I may gain a heart of wisdom.
Yeah, that's what the guy reads in prison.
Oh, well, there you go.
Really?
Yeah, in this chapter.
Well, that's how it goes.
Yeah, he reads. Yeah.
So there's this idea that somehow by counting our days and doing that we'll somehow know how to invest our time, and as the illustration here is money. So I guess my question is how much of the things that you're pursuing are enough? So, for example, spiritual disciplines can sometimes be so incredibly ethereal. Like they can be like out here, right? You can say, I'm going to read for 20 minutes. But then if you have a certain way of thinking, you might ask the question, even after reading for 20 minutes, was that enough? Like, was that enough time? And so I guess my question is often this way. My question is how much is enough? Like how much reading is enough, and how much prayer is enough, and how much God time is enough? Because if someone can point me to the passage in scripture that tells me exactly how much is enough for Geoff Cocanower in the life that he's living right now, man, that would be great. I mean, and Byron,
but that doesn't
knows.
exist.
Right.
You know that.
Well, it's in the book of Hezekiah. Just look it up. There's no book.
That's
of
a good one.
Just to be clear.
I was about to be like, where?
Yeah.
My fake book is Jephaniah.
Well, I need a book.
Jephaniah.
So I'm just curious if you were to put like a time frame on it, like how much, or what's the determining factor, right? Because
it's a great question.
What gets evaluated gets done, and what you need to accomplish is actually where you'll actually make action steps, right? So alongside the opportunity statue should be some sort of like roadmap, right? So Andy Stanley always has the principle, the path, the direction, not intention, leads to your destination, right? And so that's my question is like, how far do you need to get with your $864, tomorrow? You know what I'm saying?
Dang, who brought Geoff on here laying it down?
And I was asking tough questions. Mo, do you have a response for that? Because I think I might.
Well, here's why I hope it's not a tough question. Here's why I hope it's not a tough question. What I hope it is oh, look at that. We're back.
Well, you're right. It's not a tough question. It's a question that challenges us, because oftentimes we think to ourselves, well, if I just spend 15 minutes, but then is that 15 minutes enough?
Right.
So like, well, I mean, isn't what matters more than anything else the heart? And what we're allowing God to do in our lives as a result of what he's doing in our heart. And so like, I think for most of us, it's less about the amount of time we spend doing something, but the heart behind why we're doing it. Because if you really care, you'll invest the time into doing whatever it is that needs to get done. Like, right. Like you could ask a piano player, how many hours a day do I need to practice in order to be great? But a piano player that really cares is going to invest a sufficient amount of time based on what they feel like their current need is. Like if I'm sitting here and I'm like just reading my Bible for 15 minutes a day because, my youth pastor said I have to, and I'm just doing it, to check off a box, I might not get as much of it. But if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, man, I really want to know what God has to say specifically to me. I could read one verse and be like I was saying with 1 Timothy 2:4, right. I spent my entire quiet time talking about that one verse, really and I'm still meditating on that now. And so, I think, I guess that would be my response. And just from what I've learned is it's all about the intentionality. And I think, but then you could also go with like a workout. Like if I spend 30 minutes a day exercising, I'm going to have gains, And so it doesn't, I feel like it's not all one-to-one, to be completely honest. So
I feel like you could even argue like spiritually, because people talk about you should be like hanging out with Jesus all day, every day, like acknowledging God all day, all the time.
Pray without ceasing.
We don't always do that, but like you could even say it's a nonstop thing with hanging out with God and acknowledging him.
Well, here. This might be taking us on a little bit of a tangent, but here's what I'm really curious
about. At this point, I think we're free to go wherever we want.
Because here's like, no, seriously, I have a big question, because I was reading this and I was thinking, I was like, if I have $864 a day, I might save some of that money, but I can't because I have to spend it and I'm going to lose it. So really, I can't save it. So what am I going to do with it? I'm going to purchase things that immediately gratify myself. The thing about being self-disciplined and seizing opportunities today is you're seizing them today to really gratify things later on down the road. Like you don't benefit from a 30-minute workout right now. I mean, you kind of do just by that sense of satisfaction and that release, but like
those endorphins.
But like, 2 years from now, when you're really healthy, or like a month from now, or like however long Byron's been doing P90X, like that's who's benefiting. like you today putting in the effort is not the one benefiting. It's you.
Sure.
So like, I don't know. It's tough. It's challenging because if I would be highly motivated to spend $864, but to spend all of my time wisely when I can play video games all day and watch TikToks and YouTube and gratify myself now, it seems like a much better use of my time.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think I asked that question to open up this conversation is to say, like, I think it's really easy to say, okay, I'm going to do this. So I've done enough time and I can say, okay, I did my time.
And then just be done with it.
Right. And there are honestly some days where that's it. Like that's the motivation.
Yeah.
That's the hunger I've got today is,
yep.
All right, I'm going to do this because I know I need to, because I know that the investment, like I don't know if you know this, but to take out dandelions in your yard. I just learned this today.
It spreads them more.
Well, to take them out, you have to seed and spray in the fall, but they come in the spring. That's when they show up in my yard and they make me mad, right?
Oh,
what I don't understand is why rabbits don't eat those instead of the flowers that I plant. That's a whole nother conversation. And that's a tangent we don't need to go down. But you spray in the fall so they don't come in the spring, and then they're not there ever again, right? If you continue to spray in the fall, because that's when they germinate. That's when the seeds take root, right? So it takes it 4 or 5 months to actually come around and stop the thing from growing. In the same way, like the heart that we have, you talk about the heart, the desires that we have to want to capitalize on the opportunities that are going to be presented before us. Like we got to be praying for that. We got to be asking for that months ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody, okay, some people may have, but nobody knew that we were going to go through the last 2.5 months, 3 months. And no one knows exactly how long it's going to last.
Right.
So the question is, what are you doing now with that $864 to invest not only in today, because the opportunity statute doesn't just say, okay, I'm only going to invest in the future, right? It doesn't, it's not just
fair.
about the future.
It's
about today as well, right? So there are some pennies that you've got to spend for today, right? And there's opportunities that are going to come today.
Taking a significant other out on a date, because that's really fun and that's meaningful, and that invests in your relationship.
Right. And what's interesting about that is that you get the fruit from that, the joy of the intimacy with each other in that moment. But it probably takes days or weeks to plan an effective date.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't have experience with that.
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt there. So, but
Sorry,
you know what I'm
Deidre.
saying? Like in that case, like at some point you have to invest for the future, but you also capitalize on the moment. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the thing for me when you start talking about God time, Mo, and start talking about reading your Bible and praying and stuff, like what are you doing now to prepare yourself for that in the future so that when the opportunity shows up, because the opportunity statute just didn't go boom, there's Kairos, right? It wasn't like it was just, we snapped our fingers because we
got to break that down. So Kairos and Chronos are the Greek words.
Yeah.
So Chronos is time.
Correct.
Kairos is opportunity.
Yeah. So the idea here, any statue, you could talk about any statue, right? Michelangelo didn't look and go, oh, there's David, right? Like it was, it took time, right? To chip away and invest in things like that. And so like it takes forethought, it takes thinking through, it takes processing that, and it takes moments over the course of years and years and years to get to the place where the statue shows up.
So my question is, how much do we lean on God in this process?
I'm going to figure it out. I'm just going to figure it out for myself. I'm going to come up with a plan. The plan's going to be enough.
Right.
That's what we do though, right?
Yeah.
So if I read my Bible for 20 minutes a day, that's enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did I miss?
Nothing.
All of it.
Seriously,
Okay.
we've done this for 7 weeks and we've never had this go out on us, and the camera went completely out.
Okay.
I think it
I
might
had
be
fun.
due to the
Come
fact
on,
that we had a
Geoff.
different host. And
But what's crazy is
that's true.
it's not connected through USB. I connected through Wi-Fi and it's no problem.
Okay.
So
welcome to the world of tech and this live streaming.
yeah. So anyway, it's
So
all
I do
good.
think that's an interesting question. How much of this do we rely on God for?
Mm-hmm.
Because we also have a responsibility in this, but
Yeah. So how do you
Pray as if everything depends upon God, and work as if everything depends upon you.
is that
That's an interesting concept.
It's actually a very famous quote.
I know.
by who?
I don't remember.
He doesn't know.
Work.
Look it up.
as if everything.
No, pray as if everything depends upon God. Work as if everything depends upon you.
I bet Billy Graham said it.
Pray as though everything depends on God. Work as if everything. Oh, St. Augustine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and
he's somebody.
it's something.
Yeah. But I mean, no, really. I mean, it's a both and. If we don't work hard, why should God come through for us if we're not going to put in the time and energy and effort? It's like,
It's kind of like a
But-
relation. Yeah.
But God's that's not, God doesn't work conditionally.
here, I want to snap
Yeah.
fingers. Now you're a bodybuilder's, Colin.
Well,
I'm
that's
God.
true.
Be a Bobby
Well,
bodybuilder.
Yeah, but like, I mean, well, okay. So my only like hesitation
I
with
don't even
saying
know
that
at this
is
point.
like
He just doesn't want to work.
God isn't saying. What I'm saying is the way that God operates. I guess I don't know 100% how God operates. I'm gonna sit here.
You lost feet again.
Tell
Because the
about how,
internet went down.
I'm not gonna sit here and talk about how God, I know 100%
Well, they
facts.
hear us. They just don't see us.
I know how God operates, but like I don't. Do I want to work as if everything depends on me? Is that how? Like,
But it's like, what's the balance? Is
right,
there a balance?
Because there has to be a healthy balance. Because I can't sit here all day asking God to do everything, but I want to. Like, I don't know. I need to lean on
I
somebody
feel like it
else's
can
wisdom. It's
depend
just
on the circumstance too.
So explore that a little bit more because I want to hear more about that.
I don't know.
I
Like,
can do that because I'm the co-host, guest host.
Yes.
Explore that a little bit more.
I don't like if you're wanting. For one, I feel like it depends on like if what you're wanting to rely on God for is like in His will. So if you're wanting to like become
What's
a
God's
stripper
will
or
for your
something,
life?
you're like,
Hold on. That's the next question, but hold on. Keep going.
all I'm saying is like if you're wanting to become a stripper or something, God's not gonna try and.
That's
I
probably
don't know
true.
God.
sorry for all y'all strippers out there. God doesn't want you doing it.
Do everything for the glory of God.
Yeah. So like if you're like
Wow. Keep going on this,
You gave me the
please.
mic.
And let's see how that works.
I think keep
But
going
you know
down
what
this
I'm
balance
saying? Like,
idea.
if you're wanting to do missions or something and like finances, yes, like you have a part to play. Like, you know how people make like GoFundMe's and
I
stuff,
know
but you
too
have
many
to
people
face-
who quit before they were ever supposed to quit. They just
Yeah.
didn't have
Yeah,
the
but that's-
resilience to
so-
keep pushing forward.
And I get that. It's just both of those are kind of there's interesting examples because both can be. You could use either. You could say that going into missions and quitting before you quit. They're straw man arguments. Like you could use those as the example, but I think the idea here is going into work for Christ, right? And saying, okay, I'm going to give up all of my stuff, right, to go do this thing in a vocational sense, right? Because I think it's important to delineate those two things. It's one thing to feel that God has called you, and there's a whole lot that goes into that,
Right.
Mhm.
because
not everybody. I mean, because not everybody's going into the mission.
right. So
Yeah.
so well,
Well,
I think everybody is.
That
You look at
Yeah,
Matthew 28.
like,
There's a
Jesus
difference
calls.
between your purpose and passion.
Yeah. So everybody's called to the mission of Christ. Everybody's called to participate in the building up of the kingdom of God or the church, right? But what's the vocation that God
Exactly.
paves a way for us, right? My pastoral job, while it is a calling, is a vocation. Like I have trained for it and I continue to train for it,
Yes,
and I try
it's a
to do
career.
it well. Yeah, it's a career, right? So I have work to do. And so, but there is a level to where some people give up their given careers that they've accepted in order to pursue a different career or to leverage the experience they have in those things for a more direct purpose in the kingdom of God, as in a missionary sense. The thing that I think is what I find very interesting about what your comments are, and both of you said the balance thing in opposition to Byron's quote, or at least to
St.
to
Augustine.
challenge it,
I
which-
think I challenged
that's
St.
true.
Augustine. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Well, here's what I'd say, and I think it's to understand the heart
And
of Saint-
Irwin.
Yeah,
McManus.
That one, yeah, quotes that
Oh
all
my
the time.
goodness. Yeah. All right.
And I get the heart. I think you have to get to the heart of it. And here's the thing: it's very, very easy to take that quote and work your way for salvation,
Which is not
Oh,
probably
yeah.
and
what it's
work your
implying.
way for grace. And here's the reality: is
Mhm.
Jesus's grace for every single person on the face of the earth is more than enough to get them to where He wants them to go, so long as they're surrendered to Him. And I think that's the thing. Like, yeah, work as hard as you can in the time that you have, being wise about working for today and tomorrow, given that you get it, right? But the ways that you prepare yourself for the future are important and impact what you do and are capable of doing
Today.
right now.
Yeah.
So if you wake up at 4:00 in the morning because early bird gets the worm, and you're also like, oh, but I can work and work and work, and you don't go to bed till 4:00 at night.
Then you've just.
But I did my God time. I did my God time, and I spent time in the Word, and I did that stuff. But you're killing yourself physically. Well, I just want to make the most of every opportunity, right? No, it says, teach me to count my days so that I'll get a heart of wisdom, right?
Mm.
So the idea is help me understand what I need to invest in now that's going to be valuable for the now and for the future.
Yeah, because sometimes you could be investing in things that might be positive on the out, but like aren't necessarily what you should be investing.
And the balance is not so much it's the heart behind the work that you're doing. How hard are you working and what are you working for? If you've watched the Michael Jordan's Last Dance video, the documentary, I would never ask any athlete to be like him personally.
Sure.
Because he's not a
I
good.
haven't watched it. I don't know.
Okay.
Me either.
He put competitiveness above everything else. Win at all costs.
To the point where even in the interviews, he said, if you don't want to play the way I want to play basketball, then don't play it that way. And he said it with tears, recognizing that he probably lost relationships.
Yep.
I mean, it was honestly, I think if there's anything that I recognized in that part of the interview is that I think it was a moment of recognition that like his relationship with Scotty, his relationship with some of these other guys who put in the team, Tony Kukoc, John Paxson, some of those guys knew he could be a better guy if he didn't want to win so bad. His point was, I want to win because I want the whole team to win, but at expense of what?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, when he left basketball, he was empty. And he tried to give it another shot with the Washington Wizards. And what's interesting about that is when you're the greatest in the world, people will put up with it. But when you're past your prime,
that's right.
They don't put up with that kind of attitude where you're demanding everyone else to play at a level that you can't even play at yourself. And so why I bring up that analogy is that when we pray as if everything depends upon God, it puts our work into perspective. That it's not about us.
That's so true because, what is that part? Hold up a minute.
I don't know.
I gotta quote my scriptures here, but I gotta get them right.
Mm-hmm. One thing I think of with this is if you're looking for a balance, you could just look at Jesus. Like he's literally the example. Like, yes, he relied on God and had a lot of faith and relied on him on things, but also he did the work. Like he laid his life, and he, like, even before that, he asked God, would you take this cup from me? But he recognized, like, God's not always going to do that. I don't know. He
humbled himself. He said that everyone else was worth more than his own personal gain.
It's not like God just did it for him. Like Jesus had to do something.
Sure.
Yeah. So here's the verse that I was going to say, and this is Psalm 37:4. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. So if we go back to that St. Augustine quote, if you're praying like everything depends on the Lord, then ideally, since you're spending so much time alone with God, praying so much to the Lord, that ideally that desire that he's planting in your heart would come out in the way that you work, because it would shape and define your work ethic. I think that's where the balance comes in, right? Because you would ask the Lord to shape you, give you the wisdom like you were talking about, then to conduct your day as if you were walking and doing everything you were doing for the Lord. And so then you wouldn't necessarily have to worry as much about, am I getting everything right? Because you would be leaning on the Lord.
Now, here's the question I have for you.
Yeah.
Is it okay to waste 2 hours watching a movie?
Depends what movie.
Any movie. Doesn't matter. There's 2 hours that you could have had used to
so difficult. That's such a
spending time with God. That's 2 hours you could have been using to.
You could have been praying.
I'm wrestling with that, right? Well, no.
You watched 1917 instead of praying for
was it good?
2 minutes. It's excellent. Anyway,
Becca, you heard it first. It's excellent. You heard it.
But I'm also I love history, and my wife's a world history and U.S. history teacher. So
I got to pause here. Yeah. My sister said she thinks it's really boring, so she didn't want to watch it with us.
I could see how you would think it's boring.
Yes.
I could see Becca.
That's my sister.
We've never met, but I could see how you think it's boring. But it's a great movie.
The only reason why I say that about the movie is because Francis Chan talks about how watching a movie is, not a good use of your time, and how you should be basically talked about his grandma who never ever really went to watch a movie, and he took her to see a movie, and she's like, I just wish I would have been praying more instead of being at the movie theater.
The one thing I will say the one thing I would say to that, and Francis Chan, like, huge notoriety because of the stuff he's written and the way he preaches.
He's radical.
Like that.
He's awesome.
Yeah. I would agree with him to say that I think the majority, especially of the Western church, so the U.S.,
us,
don't prioritize evangelism and sharing the gospel. Oh, share the gospel, use words if necessary. Yeah, well, the words are kind of necessary, right?
Yeah. Like, what do you mean? It's not just saying that this is what I stand for. Like,
right. We hide behind political points. We hide behind like little pithy phrases that some guy used at some conference to try and help people understand to be more like Mary instead of Martha, but don't get the context of the entire scripture proper. We use, so I do think it's important to nuance that and say, yeah, because if all I'm doing is saying, you know what, I'm just going to watch movies instead of actually prioritizing things of the kingdom.
Well,
I think there's a balance.
Hold up a minute, because I'm sure Jesus had a fun time with his disciples, and I don't know.
He was serious all the time.
Well, like, I imagine that those disciples had a great time. And I think if you prioritize the mission and that's your main priority, then I think you've got your heart set right. But I think there's time for fun. There's times for card games. There's time for movies.
Card games?
There's times for laughing on the boats. Jesus took a nap while there was a storm.
Wow. That was really fun for the disciples. Let's go back and interview them.
But like, do you get the point that I'm trying to, like, I don't even know if it's a good point, so somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but like, ideally, like, I mean, wouldn't Deidre, is this a good point?
Correct him if he's wrong.
Well, I feel like a lot of times I have to preface that, because I don't ever want anybody to think what I'm saying is like, this is 100% the truth, because I need to learn. But like, I mean, I think Jesus had a fun time, and I think it's okay to watch movies. But if you're not prioritizing the mission, it's easier for your whole day then to become Netflix, binge watching whatever the newest thing is. And then I think most of us would be able to argue that's not a good use of time. So, but again, it's all subjective. Like, you can't just go up to somebody and be like, "Will you watch a 2-hour movie that was a waste of time?" Because it honestly could have been a waste of time.
Sure.
It could, that 2-hour movie that person just watched could have been a waste of time. I mean, heck, you're a parent, Byron, but like,
yep.
I wrestled growing up.
I was going to see where he was going to go with this.
Like,
we made babies.
I wrestled a little bit growing up, because like I would prefer to spend time. Well, I'm not even going to go there. It doesn't even matter.
Okay. Well, I want to kind of summarize some things here before we end the show.
Before you do that, you had a point, because I heard it in the headphones. So what were you going to say?
Oh gosh, if I had a point, I lost it at this point.
Dang it.
I'm just going so back and forth, because it's like God talks about doing all you can do to glorify him. Like, that's our purpose. So do everything to glorify him. Yeah. It's like, not, I think most of the time you're not thinking of God while you're watching a movie. Yeah. I don't know. It's a hard debate.
It's a challenge for some people, like, just to be able to sit down and relax a little bit. For other people, it's very easy to do, like me.
We relax too much. We relax too much.
8-wing-9.
Yeah. But part of it is like the whole idea of, like, when we're looking at our opportunities, to get more opportunities, we have to manage our time well.
Yeah.
And it's the only way that we're going to get more opportunities in life. And so the challenge here with this whole habitude was, do you prioritize your time? Do you actually plan out what you're going to do each day so you can make the most of it? It doesn't mean there isn't room for a movie. It's just, did you plan that out? What happens is, when we don't plan out our days, then we could binge watch for 8 hours that day and not get anything accomplished.
Do you know what happened the other day? I want to share the story real quickly if I have the opportunity to. I had the opportunity to do something an hour earlier, and I put it up, and I needed to get it done before the end of the night. And then my in-laws made a surprise visit, threw my whole day off.
Boom, toasted.
Because I chose to relax first before I worked and got my thing done. And because I did this thing first, then it was really irritating when my in-laws showed up, when it could have been a really great opportunity to spend time with them, because I don't get to see them that often. And so, like, that's a moment where if I had prioritized my day better, then that opportunity when they come would have been a much better opportunity. And so I felt like I would share that, because like that a movie is something I can sacrifice. Getting to watch a movie is something I can sacrifice. And so doing that earlier on in the day where I didn't prioritize better. threw things off.
I think that the opportunity statue reminds us when it comes to our time that if our time is not surrendered first, then it won't be capitalized on second. And so like you go to, I've never made a statue before. Anybody else? But it takes time and you have to commit to it. You have to decide to do it. Right. And so in the same way, I could try, I think what your brain is trying to do, at least what my brain is trying to do whenever I talk about this kind of stuff, is I want a formula. I want it to be, tell me what to do, right? I don't know what, I'm not a very organized person all the time, but if you told me if I do this plus this plus this, I would probably say, okay, because I know what the result is going to be, right? So if I invest 20 minutes of time and then I invest 20 minutes of time into, praying, and then I go for an hour run, because those are the things that are going to help me spiritually and physically be healthy. And it's going to produce a successful life, a life of a leader, a life of someone who's going to invest their time well. I would probably tell you, okay, you know what? If I knew what the expected result was going to be, I'll do that. Mm-hmm. But that's not how this works, right? And so at the very beginning, before you—
It's called faith.
Right. Well, it's trust, right? And at the core of trust, a decision to have faith, right? Yep. So you either have decided, I'm going to trust this thing. I'm trusting this chair right now because I have decided that it's going to hold me up. Hopefully it does better than the one chair I sat on the other day. And so the point is that like I have decided to trust that if I invest the time into knowing the scripture, and if I invest time into allowing God to renew my mind, and I invest time into these things, then the result will be whatever God wants to make it be.
You become a better person, the person that God wants you to be.
I love John 15 in this context because I think it gives us a really clear picture of what the role is supposed to look like. He is divine, we are the branches, and we produce fruit. So as long as we continue to do everything we can to stay close to him, right? So prioritizing that time in the word, prioritizing that time in prayer and solitude and those type of things, then he will utilize our lives. But when we get disconnected from the vine, that's when the branch becomes useless. And the gardener comes by, as I do with branches on my tree all the time right now, and chops them off. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I think, how much is enough? How much time is enough time? Well, I think you got to come to the place where you feel content and you feel that confidence that you can walk out and follow after the Lord after that. But it begins with surrender.
Yep.
Okay, I've said enough.
So, I mean, any guys' last thoughts? Anything else you guys want to add to the conversation? We're getting close to the 60-minute mark. And
60 minutes.
I know.
I said my piece.
Said your piece?
I think it's just bouncing off all of this. Like, the way I could sum it up in my head is just focusing on your heart all the time. Like, before you get into technical things and stuff like that, just like sit back and say, like, is my heart for God?
Yep. And I will say this too. I'm recalling my piece. I'm recalling my piece. I really do think it's a lot to do with motivation too. Like if you're not truly motivated to do what you're trying to do, it's just going to be much harder. Like, and I think that's where the God piece does come in, because if we really want God to give us the desires of our heart, let's start seeking God to give us the desires of our heart, because it's so much harder to stick to a regiment when you don't really want to do it, or you don't really care about the end result or why you're doing it, outside of somebody said, hey, you should do this because it's good for you. I want to learn how to inspire people. Like that's really what I want to do. And I've learned that God is the only person that can really inspire me. And so I've got to point that off.
And the wise words to underscore everything they've just said, because that's really good. Wise words.
Underscore like we did bad?
No. To come underneath and support.
Oh.
To underscore them in the wise words of the not so famous Terry Bly is a surrendered life is an empowered life, and an empowered life lives for Christ.
Oh,
amen.
Terry Bly, thank you for sharing.
Something along those lines. I butchered the last part, but he's not watching.
It's good stuff. It's good. So, well, hey guys, we've had a good night, good conversation. Hopefully our audience had fun listening and laughing with us and learning and growing at the same time. And we look forward to seeing everybody June 11th, Thursday night here at 7:00. Again, it's the series.
Can we get one last oof?
I'm a nonconformist.
Yeah, we knew that ahead of time.
Are you a 4?
No.
No, I kind of am, but no. So anyway, we look forward to seeing you guys Thursday nights. If you just get bored, rewatch our shows. We like the view count going up. And
Thursday nights brought to you by the letter T.
Yes. And thanks, Geoff, for joining us.
Thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Mariah, thanks for volunteering this whole 7 weeks of being a part of this.
Been
And
a fun
Colin?
time.
Enjoy youth ministry this summer.
Oh, baby.
All right, everybody.
See
Have
everybody.
a great night.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye, buddies.
And we're done.